Arturo "Thunder" Gatti was found dead today in an apartment in Brazil.
Arturo Gatti, while on vacation in Brazil, took his wife's purse strap, looped it around a banister, and hanged himself.
I never believe it, that he did that. Took his own life, never.
Arturo Gatti did not kill himself. 15 years ago, boxing lost one of its greatest warriors under circumstances that remain deeply suspicious. Arturo Gatti, the man they called Thunder, the fighter who never quit, was found dead in a Brazilian hotel room. Authorities ruled it suicide, but a team of 7 forensic experts who studied the case came to a shocking conclusion. This was murder, without a shadow of a doubt. A knife at the scene, a fortune at stake, a wife who walked free, and a body position that experts say was physically impossible. This is the unsolved mystery that still haunts boxing today. July 11, 2009. Porto de Galinhas, Brazil. The morning sun rises over a beach resort where one of boxing's most beloved champions lies dead on a hotel room floor. Arturo Gatti, just 37 years old, is discovered by his 23-year-old wife Amanda in a pool of blood. His body is wedged under a staircase, a broken purse strap nearby. Brazilian police immediately suspect murder and arrest Amanda. But 3 weeks later, in a stunning reversal, they change their ruling to suicide and release her. The boxing world erupts in disbelief. How could a man famous for never giving up suddenly quit? How could the warrior who survived the most brutal trilogy in modern boxing hang himself with a purse strap? To understand why so many refuse to accept the suicide ruling, you need to know who Arturo Gatti was. Born in Italy in 1972 and raised in Montreal, Gatti turned professional in 1991. He quickly earned the nickname Thunder for his explosive power. Fans called him the human highlight reel because every fight delivered drama. Gatti possessed an iron chin that absorbed punishment that would drop most fighters. But more than physical toughness, he had something special, an indomitable will. No matter how badly hurt, Gatti always came back swinging. His career defined what it means to be a warrior. On December 15, 1997, Gatti defended his junior lightweight title against Gabriel Relis. In the 4th round, a crushing uppercut rocked him. Relis unleashed over 15 straight punches. Gatti staggered to his corner, barely conscious. Everyone thought the fight was over, but in round 5, Gatti connected with a devastating left hook that ended the fight instantly. This was pure Gatti, hurt badly, then turning the tables with a single thunderous punch. The fight won Ring Magazine's Fight of the Year award. But the fights that made Gatti a legend were the 3 wars against Mickey Ward. From 2002 to 2003, these 2 warriors gave fans 30 rounds of sustained brutality. ESPN voters ranked it the 2nd greatest trilogy in boxing history. The first fight on May 18, 2002, featured what some call the round of the century. In the 9th round, Ward dropped Gatti with a body shot and pummeled him for over a minute. Both men somehow found energy for an all-out war in the final 40 seconds. Ward won by decision, and the fight immediately became Fight of the Year. 6 months later came the rematch. Gatti broke his right hand in round 6, but still won a unanimous decision through superior boxing skills. The rubber match on June 7, 2003 became even more legendary. Gatti broke his twice-repaired right hand in round 4, forcing him to fight virtually one-handed. Ward broke his eardrum. Both warriors slugged through exhaustion and injuries. Gatti won the decision and earned his 2nd Fight of the Year award from the trilogy. After the fight, hospital curtains were pulled back to reveal Gatti on a gurney next to Ward. His first words were asking if his opponent was okay. The trilogy transformed rivals into brothers. Gatti retired in July 2007 after a brutal loss, ending with a record of 40 wins, 9 losses, and 31 knockouts. He won Ring Magazine's Fight of the Year award 4 times, a record no modern fighter has matched. While he lost to elite opponents like Oscar De La Hoya and Floyd Mayweather, Gatti's warrior spirit made him beloved worldwide. But retirement brought darkness. Gatti struggled to adjust to life outside the ring. Friends said he drank heavily and showed signs of depression. His personal life became chaotic and violent. He met Amanda Rodriguez in late 2006 near his New Jersey home. She was 23, he was 37. They married in 2007 at the Grand Canyon. The relationship quickly deteriorated into what court documents describe as volcanic arguments. By spring 2009, the marriage was collapsing. Both consulted divorce lawyers in May, just weeks before the Brazil trip. Now here's where the story takes a suspicious turn. The prenuptial agreement Amanda signed stated she would receive nothing in a divorce, not a penny. But on June 17, 2009, just 3 weeks before his death, Gatti signed a new will. This document left his entire estate, valued between $3 and $6 million, to Amanda and their infant son. His previous will had left everything to his mother, brother, and daughter from his first marriage. The timing raises an obvious question. Why would a man planning to divorce his wife suddenly leave her his fortune? So before we go any further, I want to hear from you. Based on what you've heard so far about the will change, the troubled marriage, and what's coming next, what do you think happened? Drop your theory in the comments. And if you want to see how this mystery unfolds, hit that subscribe button, because this case gets even stranger. The couple traveled to Brazil in early July 2009 with their 10-month-old son. Friends later said it was supposed to be a second honeymoon to save the marriage, but the trip was troubled from the start. Gatti left a phone message for a friend saying it was a nightmare. On the night of July 10th, everything fell apart. The couple went out for dinner and drinking. Gatti consumed 7 beers and 2 bottles of wine. A violent argument erupted in public near the beach. 17 witnesses told police that Gatti picked up the 100-pound Amanda by her chin and threw her to the ground. She suffered injuries to her elbow and chin. Gatti took their baby and left. A crowd gathered and began throwing objects at him. Witnesses described him fighting back against multiple men like the Incredible Hulk. He was hit in the head with a rock and a bicycle, leaving a deep cut on the back of his head and bleeding from his shoulder. Around 2 a.m., Gatti returned to the apartment with the baby. Amanda arrived separately. According to her account, Gatti showed her the head wound and said he fought 4 guys in the street. Their final conversation was brief and cold. Gatti said, "So I guess it's over, huh?" Amanda replied, "It's over. I couldn't take that anymore." She took the baby upstairs to the bedroom. Gatti stayed on the first floor. It was the last time anyone would see him alive. Amanda's account of discovering the body raises immediate questions. She says she came downstairs around 6 a.m. to get milk and saw Gatti on the floor, but she assumed he was drunkenly sleeping, something he had done many times before. She claims she didn't see blood and didn't try to wake him. She just went back upstairs. 3 hours later, around 9 a.m., she came down again, touched his body, found it cold, and realized he was dead. She opened the door screaming for help. Gatti was found face down on the kitchen floor in a pool of blood. His head was wedged halfway under a cabinet. A broken, bloodied strap from Amanda's purse lay near the body. A knife was on the floor nearby. Blood-stained towels sat on the kitchen counter. There were no signs of forced entry. Electronic locks showed no one else had entered during the night. Brazilian police immediately suspected murder. On Sunday, July 12th, Amanda was arrested and charged with strangling Gatti with her purse strap while he was passed out drunk. Then came the reversal that shocked the world. On July 30th, Brazilian authorities announced they had determined it was suicide. The official theory, Gatti used Amanda's purse strap to hang himself from a wooden staircase column 7 feet off the ground. He stood on a stool and kicked it away. Amanda was immediately released after nearly 3 weeks in custody. The boxing world erupted in disbelief. Gatti's manager, Pat Lynch, refused to accept it. In August 2010, he hired 2 experienced private investigators who worked full-time for 10 months. In September 2011, they held a press conference presenting findings from a 7-expert forensic panel. The experts included some of the most prominent names in American forensic science. Their conclusion was emphatic and unequivocal. Dr. Cyril Wecht, one of America's most distinguished forensic pathologists who performed over 14,000 autopsies, called the Brazilian investigation pure, unadulterated fiction. His conclusion, this was not a suicide hanging, this is a homicide. The expert panel identified multiple physical impossibilities in the suicide theory. Dr. Alfred Bowles, a biomechanics expert with 26 years of experience, conducted extensive testing. He dropped a dummy matching Gatti's weight and height approximately 1,000 times from the alleged hanging position. His conclusion, you simply cannot hang yourself the way the Brazilian authorities identified. The body position was physically impossible. Gatti was found face down with his head wedged sideways under a cabinet. But Bowles' testing showed that anyone falling from that hanging position would land straight out onto the table, not sideways underneath it. No matter how you do it, Bowles explained, he's not going to fall sideways underneath the stairs with his head underneath the counter. It's not going to happen. The purse strap presented another critical problem. Experts determined it was neither long enough to wrap around Gatti's 18-inch neck, nor strong enough to support his 160-pound body weight for more than a few seconds. Brazilian police claimed the body hung for several hours based on Amanda's timeline. Yet the strap couldn't support that weight for that duration. Brent Turvey, a forensic scientist specializing in crime scene analysis, identified the head injury as the smoking gun. In my opinion, he was attacked by another person that resulted in a blunt force laceration to the back of his head, and then he was strangled, Turvey stated. Their theory, Gatti was struck in the head, rendering him unconscious, then strangled, then the scene was staged to look like a hanging. The blood evidence told a damning story. At the crime scene, investigators pointed out there was no blood on the floor where Gatti would have been standing to hang himself. No blood on his back despite the head wound. No blood on the stool he allegedly stood on. Blood appeared only in specific locations, marks on the kitchen counter and pooling beside the body. Most troubling, 2 blood-stained hand towels found on the kitchen counter were never tested by Brazilian authorities. These could have contained crucial DNA evidence. The financial motive seemed clear. He was murdered because there's $6.5 million sitting in a bank here in New Jersey, and somebody wants it, investigator Paul Cellino declared. It's the oldest motive in the world. The timing of the will change, 3 weeks before death, raised immediate suspicions, especially considering Amanda would receive nothing in a divorce under the prenuptial agreement. There's more disturbing context. In November 2008, 2 friends testified in Quebec court that after a texting argument with Arturo, Amanda snapped and told them, if he thinks his exes were bitches, I'll show him. I'm going to be the biggest bitch. I'm going to kill him. The witnesses said they didn't think she was serious at the time, but the threat took on new meaning after Gatti's death. Private investigator Joseph Moura's final statement captured the certainty of the murder camp. This was a homicide. Arturo Gatti was murdered. I will defend this case for the rest of my life. But there's another side to this story that complicates everything. In November 2011, Quebec coroner Jean Brochu released findings from a second independent autopsy conducted by Canadian pathologists. His conclusion, no clear evidence of foul play in Mr. Gatti's death. The cause was violent death by asphyxiation, but Brochu found the suicide ruling most likely accurate. Brochu identified what he considered the single most important piece of forensic evidence, one the private investigators failed to explain: post-mortem lividity. Gatti's body showed boots and gloves lividity, a distinctive pattern of blood pooling in the hands and feet that usually only occurs when a body is hanging for a substantial period of time. This pattern cannot be faked or staged after death because it develops naturally as blood settles due to gravity after the heart stops. The presence of this lividity pattern proved the body was suspended vertically for an extended period before falling to the floor when the strap broke. Then came revelations about Gatti's mental health that many didn't know. Court documents from 2006 revealed that a former girlfriend stated he had attempted suicide by overdosing on cocaine, alcohol, and prescription drugs in 2005. New Jersey hospital records confirmed Gatti arrived unresponsive and tested positive for cocaine and alcohol. Medical records show a doctor requested a psychiatric consult. An even more disturbing incident occurred in 2004. Friend Mario Costa testified about a late-night visit when Gatti threatened suicide and demanded to borrow Costa's gun. He took his finger and shoved it in his mouth, Costa recalled. I was afraid. I believe if I gave him my gun that night, he would probably blow his head off right in front of me. That's how bad he was. Costa told Gatti he needed to see a psychiatrist. Multiple sources confirmed Gatti struggled after retirement. He got depressed, Amanda said. He didn't know what to do. He started drinking a lot. Costa described Gatti living in go-go bars with no structure, taking 3 Percocets for breakfast. He had been arrested for DUI in 3 states. His driver's license was canceled for 10 years. The night before Gatti's death created what experts call a perfect storm of crisis factors: the violent public argument, the street fight and head injury, the final conversation with Amanda saying it's over, heavy intoxication, being alone after his wife took their son and ended the marriage, all within hours of his death. Toxicology reports showed carisoprodol, a muscle relaxant that can cause anxiety and confusion, in his system alongside alcohol. Most remarkably, Gatti's own brother Joe, breaking with the rest of the family, came to believe it was suicide. I just hate to say it, but people need to know the truth. He was on drugs, he was on painkillers, and he was an alcoholic, Joe stated publicly. That night in Brazil, he found himself in a dark place. A critical rebuttal to the murder theory involves the head injury. While private investigators pointed to the wound as evidence of attack, witnesses stated definitively that the injury occurred during the street fight when Gatti was hit with a rock after he pushed Amanda, not from a weapon in the apartment. So what really happened? The truth is, we may never know. Because of the botched initial investigation, the crime scene was compromised. Evidence was lost. The answer became permanently elusive. Both sides have compelling evidence. Both sides have serious experts backing their conclusions. The physical impossibility arguments clash with the undeniable lividity pattern. The financial motive conflicts with documented mental health crises. The staged scene theory battles against witnessed events that explain the injuries. What we know for certain is this: Arturo Gatti survived brutal wars that would have destroyed normal men. He absorbed punishment through sheer willpower. He came back from the brink of defeat dozens of times. He never quit in the ring. The question that haunts boxing is whether, on one dark night in Brazil, drunk and heartbroken and facing separation from his baby son, the warrior who never quit finally did, or whether someone silenced Thunder forever and got away with murder. In December 2012, Gatti was inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame in his first year of eligibility. His 4 Fight of the Year awards stand as a record no modern fighter has approached. The Ward trilogy is studied by historians and replayed by new generations. His legacy as a warrior is secure, but the mystery of how he died remains boxing's most controversial, unsolved case. So what do you think? Was this a tragic suicide by a broken man struggling with demons? Or was it murder disguised as suicide, with a fortune as the motive? The evidence points both ways. The experts disagree, and the truth lies somewhere in that Brazilian hotel room, locked away forever. Leave your verdict in the comments. And if you found this case as compelling as I did, smash that like button and subscribe, because there are more untold stories in boxing that deserve to be examined. The mystery endures, and so does the legend of Thunder.